Welcome to Property Deconstructed. It's a collective wisdom of all things property and real estate with Mark Erichello from Master Advocates Real Estate Services, and I'm Pat Panetta from Tell Your Story Media. That's right, isn't it, Mark? It's a collective wisdom. We get in here and we share what we can.
It's great, collectively with wisdom from other industry experts.
That's right.
Yeah, always great to see you again.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, new episode for the new year as well.
That's right. Yeah, it's good to see each other again. We've got someone special in the studio that we sort of both know as well. It sort of all seems to connect. Let's talk a bit about what we do every session here. It's all about property and lifestyle, really. Property and having a shelter over our heads, it means so much to all our listeners and viewers.
Yeah, that's right. It's important, people personal business needs, and most consumers don't have much experience in transactions. They might have two or three significant parts of their lives or stages in their life with personal experience with property transactions, but getting the right advice, right professionals is the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kate Bakos joins us here in the studios. Kate is the president of the REBAA, the Real Estate Buyers Agent Association of Australia. Kate's also an independent buyers advocate and the director and founder of Kate Bakos Property. And welcome to our studios. Hi there, Kate.
What a privilege. Hi.
Hello.
Good to be here, Pat. Thanks for having me.
No worries. I was saying to Mark that we actually have all sort of crossed paths along the way, haven't we? All sort of different radio stations and places. So thank you for coming in, Mark. We're going to cover off the importance of using somebody from the REBAA and using a buyer's agent. Is that a good summary of what we should discuss?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so the highlight and value in engaging an independent buyer's agent, and specifically from the Real Estate Buyers Agents Association of Australia.
And you being the president.
I am indeed.
So Mark's onto it, isn't he? I mean, if they come to you, you're buying with confidence in a way.
Absolutely. Yeah, REBA's got a set of really good standards, and we've got quite a few hoops that people have to jump through to join the fold. We're not a massive organisation. We're very selective. So when someone's getting a REBA buyer's agent, they're getting someone who's been through all of those hoops that they've had to jump through, and they've got the credentials. They've had to have sponsorship within the group. So, they're getting a lot of confidence.
Because such a big a purchase, Mark, you want to make sure you're not picking somebody who's not qualified or not going to look after you.
Kate's shared that information, and I guess the difference in REBA and the codes of practice of REBA, there's state legislation and regulations, but then REBA as a private association, I guess, Kate, the importance of having an independent advocate and one that's accredited from memberships like REBA, certain levels of experience that you might want to expand on.
Absolutely. So we have a threshold for people in terms of how much experience they've had in the field. They've also got to be fully licensed. They've got to demonstrate that they've got the right insurances in place. They have to have been operating a business for 2 years if they're a full member, and they need to be endorsed by 2 existing members. So there's quite a fair few things that people need to tick off to join the organisation. And then, of course, there's the ongoing relationships that you have with everyone and your attendance at functions and keeping all of your own accreditation up to date as well.
Because you don't want to come across somebody who's just sort of basically made up their mind that they're going to get into the industry and, they've only started a week ago. You want to make sure you're choosing the right person.
Well, that's right, yeah. Places where they've had their, academic qualifications and study, and then as well in the field experience and vetting that. That's what Kate was highlighting then. That's very important. You want someone that's more experienced than you are in buying property and more experienced than the agents you're dealing with, the sales agents on the other side.
Right.
And that's what an independent buyer's agent with experience can do. It can match that experience in a transaction as well.
So I guess the average person has the choice of using a buyer's agent or not.
Yes.
So I'm guessing to have an expert on your side is probably the way to go, because they do it from every day and they could sort of guide you the right way.
You'd think so, Pat, but there's a thing that we've got to talk about. I never shy away from it. It comes at a price. It's a fee for service. Sometimes there's a percentage fee, other times it's a fixed fee, but people need to be prepared to pay for an independent advocate. And there are people out there that are purporting to do this for free, and they're not independent. They are receiving payment. Unfortunately, they're receiving payment from the seller, and a lot of buyers don't realise this. So we've got unscrupulous operators. We've also got people that are operating as introducers or marketers and calling themselves buyer's agents. So it goes beyond just having someone who has limited experience. It's also making sure that the person is acting for you, not for someone else.
And people don't mind paying, do they? I mean, if you're transparent, if it's hidden, that's the problem, I think. If they're saying to you it's free and you're getting it from somewhere else and and they're being sort of driven by an incentive you're not aware of, I mean, that's more of a problem. I mean, if they're open and say you're paying for... People pay for services. So don't you think it's sort of, being transparent has to be the way to go?
It does. And if you're getting a free buyer's agent and you're wondering who's paying for it, unfortunately, it's often wrapped up in the purchase price. And off-the-plan sales is one area where this unfortunately happens. And people don't realise until settlement comes along, and when it's off the plan, that can be years, not necessarily months. There's a long sunset. And the problem then comes to light when the bank valuation comes in low. So, for example, you spend $500,000, your valuation comes in at $450,000. Someone has made $30,000 or $40,000 along the way, and then there's a bit of developer profit. Unfortunately, the bank won't honour that. And if you've got a shortfall that you can't bridge, you might miss settling and you lose your deposit.
Is it frustrating for you when you come across people who are doing things like that sort of stuff, Mark?
Oh, I think, collectively, and people that are REBAA members, have a certain code they practice by and ethics, and it is frustrating. And Kate's point on that, if you're not paying for it, they're serving someone else.
Yes.
Yes, you're not going to get the due diligence until it's too late, that you learn the hard way. It's an expensive education. And that probably goes into, our topic of why it's worth investing in an independent buyer's agent with the professional indemnity insurances that come with it. You do need a level of experience to actually get that insurance cover, and not all buyer's agents acting in the field have that.
That's absolutely right. And indemnity insurance is really expensive, especially these days. We've got a lot of young players and new people that have unfortunately pushed our premiums up. We all know that. But it's essential that you've got someone who is properly qualified, licensed, and holds those insurances to represent you.
And you can pick up the phone and call the REBAA and ensure that the person you're talking to is who they say they are?
It's a pretty easy website, actually. It's just rebaa.com.au, and when you get on there, you can have a look at the buyer's agents in your state, and every member is up there. So if the person that you're talking to is claiming that they're a REBAA agent, you can't see them on there, it's then worth dropping us a line or giving us a call.
My big scone's in the way.
Yeah, there you are. It's there. It's on the screens.
There we go. Yeah.
Mark mentioned building a network of industry contacts as well. Yeah.
Yes, this goes beyond just having agents out there that you know and trust and have dealt with before, and you're familiar with their negotiation styles or how they run an auction, etc. It's also having a really strong reach with other professionals that your clients might need along the way, and knowing when to say you need to talk to an accountant versus you need to talk to a financial planner or need to talk to a mortgage broker. Having an understanding of what these people do. We've got extensive networks both outside of and within REBAA, and it might be pointing someone in the right direction for tax advice or getting depreciation schedules. We have to know our stuff, and we have to know when to stay in our lane and who else is operating in a different lane.
Well, that's how I know Mark and Kate, you guys are very good networkers, and you're out there and you're meeting people, and you've got connections to all different. That's what we're doing this series. We're talking to all the people that you know and use when you're sort of looking after a transaction. So, do you get any sleep? Do you get tired of sort of, you're always out there doing stuff, Mark?
It does get exhausting,
we don't
especially,
rest much.
We've got young families as well. So but it also, it's what fuels you too. If you're doing something you're passionate about, it gives you an extra pep in your step rather than, spending your time in life with something that you're not sure or wanting a different path. So that makes it easy.
This job is about sharing information as well. It's not really about taking. There's a lot of giving that you guys do. Yeah,
it's interesting that you say that, Pat. I mean, Mark's one of just a few friendly opposition buyers agents, and we run in a similar territory too. So I bump into Mark. Yeah. But I recall having that dreaded Saturday where you've got 4 auctions on and they're all at 11 o'clock. You can't change that. And I've got emergency bidders and team members, but I was one short. And I reached out to Mark and he helped me out, looked after my client like it was his own. Yeah. And that's the kind of camaraderie and trust that we have. And it's very hard to get that. I can't think of going outside of REBAA to get someone to help me out like that. It was amazing, and you never forget that.
Oh, thanks, Kate.
Yeah.
No, look, and it is true. I don't think I ever experienced that working in sales in the past.
No,
until I came to REBAA. I guess that's more of a givers community as well.
And it also shows that you respect the industry. Isn't it? You know, you're sort of looking after you. People think if you're sort of going to be nasty, they're really shooting themselves in the foot. You know, you're sort of just sending out the wrong sort of message. But you look after each other and your industry, and everybody wins.
Yeah, growing together. So and look, we've covered a fair bit. I'm hoping this series might run over 2 podcast episodes.
Okay.
This is episode 4, but
Yes.
if we've got some time, Kate, we'd love you to stay on for the next episode and share a bit more, because I know there's a lot more to be said.
That's right.
I'd love
well,
to.
thank you for listening and viewing this episode. We will be back with more of your tips when it comes to buying with confidence. Kate Baycost, the president of the REBAA, and also Mark Aricallo will go away for this episode. But of course, you can see us in the next episode. Thanks for being here today.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, mate.